You know what's happening right now in the hip hop world? There's a guy named Keefe D. I don't know if you're familiar with this story.
I heard the name and everything.
Yeah. Well, he was in the car when Tupac got killed.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And he had a proffer agreement. He was facing a major PCP case. So Greg Kading, who was the head investigator, met up with him and said, listen, tell us everything about the Tupac murder. We'll make this PCP case go away. So he said all the details, what led up to it, the shooting, what happened afterwards, everything else like that. And he basically was able to walk away from 25 years or possibly life in prison. After Greg Kading retired, he released some of the audio. So Keefe D starts doing, well, he wrote a book first, and then he starts doing interviews. And our interview was sort of the first major interview he did. He did other interviews as well. And just recently he got arrested and charged for Tupac's murder. And this is where like kind of the gray area comes in, where even though he had a proffer agreement and what he said on that day couldn't be used against him, what they're saying is that the book and the interviews and everything else like that could be used against him because it was outside of the proffer.
I disagree with that because I'm going to tell you why. So first of all, he's not under oath when he talks to you. That's number one.
True.
So he could just be coming in here trying to be a badass like a lot of these guys do.
And that's his defense. His lawyer said that all of this is lies. He wasn't even in Las Vegas when it happened. He was just trying to get a few dollars.
What it did is he put a lot of heat on himself by law enforcement and say, oh, they'll investigate, and maybe he was involved. And now he just led them into him. But by what he said, I mean, maybe if they investigated, they found out it was true. And then with his mouth, what he says, they'll use these videos as far as, yeah, look at it. He even said it in his book. He even said it here. But they're going to investigate first and make sure, because there's so many bullshitters on the internet today. There's so many guys like, and I give you credit. You vet people, you do your job. You just don't let some jerk off come on here and tell a story and make up lies about his story and, copy people's stories and act like they were this bigger guy than what they were. A lot of podcasters, you do it, and a lot of, people do vet them and ask them the tough questions. But so many guys exaggerate and that's probably, to make it, they want to make money. They want to be relevant. They want to be badder than what they really weren't. I didn't have 2 murders. I had 12. Well, who'd you kill then? Who's the 12? You know what I'm saying? Like, I had 12 killings. Well, who are they? You pled guilty to 2. So it's like, but they want to make it like that. So in that case, so the proffer, the only way that can happen is if you proffered and evidence comes out of you participating in another murder that you never told them about. And it's got to be murder. It ain't going to be something stupid like, a gambling case or a loan sharking case or a drug case. It's got to be something serious, right? A big crime case, mostly murder. And that's why I said it's a dangerous game, and you have to be intelligent when it comes to that level. Because one little screw up, you even got to be intelligent to, like, I believe with Gas Pipe, what fucked up his deal was that you understand who the government's little golden gooses are. And it was Sammy the Bull, right? And he gave them Gotti, and it kind of like destroyed the notion of the mafia. Like, if a guy like Sammy the Bull could cooperate, the mafia is dead. And so they need that to stay there. And now Castle comes in and says, oh, see, Sammy killed more people, and Sammy was involved in drugs he never told you about. And so now that's going to fuck up a lot of shit with them, because that could open up new trials for the people that Gravano was involved in. And so I believe that, oh no, you're lying to us. You're not telling us everything. How could he be lying? He told you about 30-something murders he was in. And what did he do 3 other murders that he didn't tell you about? So it was 40 instead of 36. You know what I'm saying? So I believe, so you have to watch out when you go in there. Like, I had to watch out for this piece of shit Bologna. And it's come to find out there was a shooting that we did, and he never told him about it. And he died in prison. He died. He wasn't supposed to do 1 day in prison. He was wearing wires. He was informing. He was an informant in the 90s. We got told that he was an informant. The Gambinos told us. The Patriarchas told us. The rap family faction in my family area told us. The Babish Shibeli and his little rap crew, right? So they all told us that this guy was an informant. I asked Artie to kill him. I said, send him up. You'll never see the guy again. And he didn't. He protected them. In fact, he never sent them up again because he knew we were crazy enough to do it, because he never gave me permission to kill my brother-in-law, and we made him disappear. So he said, these guys are nuts. They're going to end up killing this guy. So he never sent them up. So yeah, you got to be, getting back to the Proffer, if you're playing that game, you better hope that you murdered the guy yourself and you buried him and it ain't ever going to surface and, and come back and bite you.
Yeah, I mean, one of my other guests, Terrence Gangster Williams, he's actually the brother of Birdman, who's the founder of Cash Money Records. He had a crew of guys called the Hot Boys, which, the rap group named themselves after this group, but it was him and 3 other guys. And he was doing 27 years, I think, in prison. And then they put, some other murders on him. So he did a proffer agreement where he admitted to 40 murders. And he implicated the 3 other guys that were in his crew who were all dead at the time.
Okay. So he
walked away.
That's a move, yeah.
Yeah, he ended up basically being freed after like 27 years or something.
Right, but how many murders was he in there for that?
He wasn't in there for any murders, but
he gave him 40?
He gave him 40.
And they let him out?
They let him out.
Wow, that's crazy.
It's a lot of murders, though. 40?
And nobody got in trouble for the 3 guys were dead?
3 guys were dead.
That's a true story?
True story.
See, that's hard to believe because, yeah, that's a hard one. But you're saying it, so it's got to be true.
Yeah, but we talked about it. If you talk about New Orleans in the 90s, it was like the number 1 or number 2 murder capital. 75% of murders were going unsolved.
Right.
These things were happening in broad daylight. Right. Nobody wanted to cooperate. Right. Everyone was too scared that they would get killed as cooperators, so no one saw anything. They would brag about the murders to their friends.
Right.
It was just
maybe closure
lawless.
For the families, and that's why.
Yeah, it was a lot of closure. I mean, 40 unsolved murders got solved that day.
Right, and the guy's pleading guilty, and they didn't know they were unsolved, so he's saying, I did it, and he still let him out of jail. That's crazy.
He did it, with his friend. This crew of 4 people were just terrorists, essentially.
There's another way. I never knew this, too, until I got into prison, but you could be doing a life sentence for a non-violent drug case, and you could be doing a life sentence, right, for, say, a big kingpin cocaine case where there was no murders, and you could actually get out of prison if you cooperate in prison. Say you saw a murder and they stabbed somebody and killed them, and they're saying witnesses. You see anything? No. You see anything? No. You see anything? No. Yes. Yeah. You see anything? Yes. All right, we'll be in contact with you. Then they call you to the hospital. They say, okay. They brief you. You okay? What'd you see? I say, yeah, I saw those guys kill them, and all right. They ship him out of the hospital. He's a witness. He gets his life sentence reduced to 20 years. He's already got like 13 or 14 in. He's got another 3 or 4 to go.
Yeah. They moved to PC.
And that's called a Rule 35.
Okay.
So you can get out of prison, and, I never knew that one.